Cool. I'm here with Peter Platt, and we are in the amazing Peruvian restaurant, Andina. We started our businesses right around the same time,
Yeah, that's right.
22, 23 years ago. We actually, back when we were called Email ROI, before Thesis, helped you all out with some email marketing.
Yep.
So you moved here, or you grew up in Corvallis.
Grew up in Corvallis, yep.
And then after college, you kind of got
Moved up here.
sucked into the family business a little bit.
Well, no, actually, the family business started. I'm kind of culpable in a way. It's a funny origin story, but I'd been working with Mercy Corps at the time because I thought my career was going to be international development, growing up between cultures. It just seemed like kind of a good fit, and I'd done some project for them in Peru and was waiting on word on funding, and from USAID, which is their big funder. And so while I was waiting, a Peruvian businessman who I'd become friendly with, who used to work up at Intel, he was at upper management there, contacted me, and he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm waiting on this. I don't know if I'm going to have a job. Right? I'm still waiting on this." And he said, "Well, I have this crazy idea I've wanted to do forever." He's like, "I've always wanted to open a Peruvian restaurant in Portland." And he's like, "I miss my food and all this, and I have some money and getting out of the rat race, and I want to do this. So will you help me?" And I said, "Sure, I'll give it a year and see what happens." And it was a very eventful year. I was kind of his guy Friday. We hired a veteran cook. I tapped my contacts from Mercy Corps, and my supervisor had dated a guy when she lived in Peru. His two nephews were chefs, and it was this weird sort of confluence of events. And somehow we ended up starting the restaurant at that time, and he was my business partner. And about halfway through the startup process, as we signed a lease, we're building out this restaurant. He contacted me and said, I've invested in these other .coms and things, and I need more money over here. And I was like, "What do I do?" So I went to talk to my parents, and I was like, "What do I do?"
Yeah.
And my dad was taking early retirement from Hewlett Packard at the time, so he'd worked there his entire career. And he's like, "Well, this sounds interesting." And my mom thought we were nuts, just absolutely nuts.
And she's kind of the heart and soul of those.
She was, which
restaurant.
is ironic because she was dead set against it at the beginning, but then as it became a family business, she just bought right in and was, evangelical about it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, and then you guys were ranked top restaurant or best restaurant in Portland.
2005.
Yeah,
Oregonian. That was a major event for us because it just at the time it's hard to remember a time like before Facebook, right, or social media, but this was that time, right? And so getting on the front page of the Oregonian and getting that award makes such a huge difference because the Oregonian at that time had a huge membership and readership. So that just took our business and did that. Right?
Yeah.
And overnight we were just packed.
Yeah.
And we kind of hung on to that. And I think, the story pre-COVID was just hanging on to that kind of growth, which is in some ways a good problem to have, in other ways can be really challenging because it doesn't give you time to tackle your costs.
Right, yeah. And to be a fine dining restaurant that has persevered through COVID, all is incredible. I mean, you bought the building
in 2013 with SBA alone. Yeah, it was through their 504 program, which is a great program for.
And we're here in the heart of the Pearl, on 13th and Gleason. Yeah. And so that gave you you've had some civic engagement with Prosper Portland and a few other things, and so I'm trying to get us to this this new thing that you're
working on. So I mean, I like to say that a restaurant gave me a community platform through which to engage with so many different parts of our community because everyone eats, right, and everyone comes to a restaurant, and we're having to be a big popular one, thankfully. So I just got to know a lot of people because I didn't have to go to them; they came to me, so I got to know them. And so then I got invited to these different boards, and through one board membership leads to another, and then eventually I served a couple of terms on the Prosper Portland Commission right as they were making a pivot from being the old PDC to the new Prosper, and then through COVID, right, which was its own major challenge. I served a long time at Hacienda, CDC's board. Board chair for 6 years and stepped down recently just to be a normal board person. And now with OPB, of Oregon Public Broadcasting. And so So board membership has been a big part of my civic engagement because I like first contributing a small business perspective, which sometimes is missing.
Yeah,
right. You get
a lot of times.
And as I like to say at OPB, like we're used to working, with tight margins, right, and tight cash, and you just learn to be really thoughtful about the resources you have. So I think now, I've been wanting to leverage those connections and that board work to really focus on the challenges for small business and retailers in Portland right now, because as everyone has seen, and a lot of articles have been written about it, as Portland's recovery goes, so goes Oregon's recovery, because we generate, we are the tax base right, for the state. So we have an obligation to kind of get things right here and to do it in a way that isn't just a quick fix, but is I think resetting our relationship with the city for the long haul.
Yeah.
And I think the city is, of course, now at a time when a lot is changing, within our governance structure. And so, and in terms of priorities, in terms of budgeting, so the initiative that we've hatched out of the Pearl District Neighborhood Association is essentially for the neighborhood association to begin to sponsor a business district, right? Which is itself kind of, I think, a good development.
So restaurateurs, retailers,
everyone, anybody
even
who's in business.
Even the condo units.
Even then, So because the idea being we're all invested in the neighborhood in some way, right? You don't have to just be a building owner, a landlord, because so many of the landlords in town, including here at the Pearl, live elsewhere, right? They're big REITs and you know. So you want to engage with folks who have. Sorry, it's my mom trying to call.
We should get her on the video,
right?
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to find a way to help, right, and to do something. And the neighborhood associations, I think, are well positioned to do that, provided they have a means to work with their neighborhood business community. And the way that it's been structured in the past is that I wouldn't say the two have been at odds, but they've been sort of ships passing in the night, right? There hasn't been enough coordination between the two. So I approached the neighborhood association with that idea, and they were very open to it.
Specifically around security, because you want people to feel safe to then have a walking corridor here, go out to eat, go shop.
Exactly. So the Pearl District has several organizations already working within it, PDNA being the most representative, the largest. The NWCC, which is also based here, works and actually provides those security and outreach and humanitarian services by contract with neighboring businesses and buildings. And then you have the various different HOAs, right, representing the different condo owners. And so the thought was, why don't we just all work together under the auspices of one organization, the PDNA, and provide those security services and outreach for the entire district, starting with kind of our core retail area. So that's what we've been putting together and are ready to move forward with in the early next year. We're starting to put the word out now, just because we want people to start to get engaged and to start folding into our effort. But we've been really gratified and motivated by the fact that everybody we've spoken with, every coffee shop, landlord, nationally headquartered company in the Pearl, big name retailers, everyone has said, yes, we need to do this, because
basically taking things into your own hands a little bit, because the police are underfunded and
the city's going through a rough time, and we I think what I like to say is that COVID and then the challenges that come after COVID have really activated our civic antibodies, right? In many ways, we're kind of we're fighting off a lot of things that are trying to kind of take us down or to impede our flourishing. And a lot of those wounds are self-inflicted. A lot of them are just casualties of the challenges that we face as a nation. And we all have the means to help each other out. It's not just through taxes, right? And it's through this kind of civic work. And I think of it as a form of direct democracy. We're just doing it, right? And we're doing it through legally available channels and neighborhood groups that then hopefully can set a model and example for what can be done in other parts of the city.
Or extend it into downtown.
Or extend it into downtown.
First step after
exactly.
Prove it.
Yeah, because the idea is if we can preserve and create and preserve a retail corridor that is, safe for everyone, right? Not just for the customers who, of course, we'd love to come back and think of us in this way as a place to shop, to eat, to have fun, right? Which is how the Pearl kind of got built in the first place. But also taking that retail corridor and extending it through its natural connections into the West End, all the way into downtown to the James Beard Public Market, to Pioneer Square, right? Yeah. The idea being that this is how people naturally, pre-COVID times, shopped and ate and walked around town. They didn't just drive in and park and go into one store and come out and go home.
Yeah.
They came in for the afternoon. They came in for a meeting and stayed later to grab a cup of coffee, meet a friend, go buy a book at Powell's. Oh, there's a new restaurant. I'll make a reservation there, right? Yeah. So we want that behavior to come back, because that is ultimately, I think, what makes a city livable, is when people can think of it as kind of an extension of their.
No, I love it. I love it. This is like an innovative way to. My conviction is that we just got to get back to basics, be open for business, make people feel safe, and can't wait around for things to happen.
Right.
Even though we pay plenty of taxes and all the things, it's like we got to do something. Like just step in. Yeah.
And I always felt like that's, small businesses, retailers are used to doing this, right? We're problem solvers by nature, right? There's always a fire to be put out, right? And so we're used to being nimble and quick on our feet, figuring things out with, again, limited resources. So I think it's good to tap into that, right? And to realize we're not alone. We actually have a pretty robust network of very, resilient and committed small business owners who were like, I can do this, right? By connecting with this organization and this service, and everyone paying in and sort of their member dues, and you don't have to pay as much when there are more people doing it.
That's right.
It actually works.
Yeah. Right? Awesome. Well, I love it, and thanks for sharing this idea with us.
Of course.
Cheers.